Bright yellow, red, and blue artwork hung on my office wall. The handprints held my attention, transforming from primary colors to dripping blood red. I stared at the finger-painted images, a framed Mother's Day gift from my 3 sons. Their hands progressed in size, just like my boys progressed in age. Earlier, I had stood in my blue uniform jumpsuit before a small 2-bedroom ranch. Yellow tape that read, "Crime scene, do not cross," lined the walkway. Police turned and nodded at me as I passed. I showed my badge, medical examiner, to the officer at the front door. Entering the house, I walked up the few stairs to a child's bedroom, the only sound the swooshing of the plastic booties on my feet. "Morning, ma'am," a detective said. He pushed open the bedroom door. I followed him into the room. Tiny bloody handprints formed a crooked line from the floor to the wall to the door. The 20 or so marks determinedly made a path towards the hallway. My throat caught. I blew deeply out of my nose in a forceful exhale. In the middle of the wooden floor, between the twin bed and the door, lay a small blonde child. At 3 years old, with a thin build and a Dutch boy haircut, he was a doppelganger of my middle son David at that age. The little boy was on his stomach, arms outstretched, as if he had gotten tired while playing, except for the blood pooling around his head. My gloved hands carefully turned his body over to examine the source of the bleeding, large wounds on his neck. Holding his head with my left hand, I noted that a serrated knife had been drawn against his neck with such tension it created little hatch marks from its edge along the adjacent skin. 4 long incisions started near the ear and continued to the front, at the Adam's apple. One had gone deep and sliced into the jugular vein. I envisioned the boy's terror as he bled from the nick in his vessel. His airway uninjured, he might have screamed. The abstract sound hovered at the edge of my mind. Probing gingerly, I observed the carotid artery had been spared. If this large vessel in the neck had been pierced, the resulting blood loss would have caused unconsciousness in seconds. Instead, the injured vein led to a slower exsanguination, making the ink for the trail of handprints. If the child had intended to escape the attack to find his mom, it was useless. She lay dead in the adjoining hallway, her head crushed by an ornamental rock wielded as a weapon by the same murderer. The mother was splayed on the floor, face down with arms extended toward her son's bedroom. Parent and child had been separated physically by the bedroom door, but were still connected by their frantic attempt to reach one another. The search for the killer had begun before the murders, when neighbors heard a loud argument and fighting at the house. Police arrived to find the 2 dead victims. The lady next door had seen the estranged husband entering the home before the fight. "Looks like they caught him," the detective said. "He bought a pack of smokes less than a mile from here." I left work and arrived home. Opening the back door, feet thundered toward me. "Mommy's home!" Arms found purchase around my knees, waist, and neck as my 3 young sons welcomed me back to my world. My tears flowed freely, unrestrained by the confines of professionalism. They spilled onto my boys' hair and faces. Embraces returned. I held their bodies tightly. The panic and sadness of the slain mother and child faded into the background. But the bloody handprints, a shadow behind my boys' playfulness, remained fresh. It is my job to bear witness and to remember. I speak for the dead.